The ringing of the doorbell interrupted my intense focus on the TV. My curiosity piqued. I rose from my seat and made my way to the door. Peering through the peephole, I was taken aback. How had she tracked me down? I briefly considered returning to the couch and ignoring the sound, but I realized that if she had gone to such lengths to find me, she wouldn't leave without addressing whatever brought her here. I secured the safety chain and opened the door just enough for us to see one another. "What do you want to talk about?" I asked, making it clear that I had no desire to see or speak with her again. I still couldn't comprehend why she had left. I came home to find her things gone without a word of explanation. "You can't be serious. How could you not know? You're out of your mind. I know you heard me when I warned you about what would happen if you went through with your plans. May I come in?" I figured I'd best get it over with, so I undid the chain, stepped aside, and she came in. She sat down on the couch and asked me for a glass of water. As I went to get it, my mind went back to the night that started it all. I had just gotten home from work and found my wife, Alice, all dressed up. I didn't know we had plans to go out. "We don't. I have a date tonight." "A date with who?" "You don't know him." "Him?" "A man I work with. Since he recently started working here, hardly many people know him. He requested that I accompany him to Sylvia's birthday celebration because he didn't want to attend alone. He does know you are married, doesn't he?" "It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen between us. Besides, I don't want to go to Sylvia's party alone, and you won't go with me." So I told him I'd go with him. You understand why I refused to. I detest being around that woman with round heels. Additionally, I don't want you to interact with her in any way. Get used to it, Sam. She's been my best friend since the first grade, and I won't turn my back on her just because you don't like her. I don't like her because she has been divorced 4 times, and each time it was because she got caught cheating on her husband. I also don't like going to her parties because of all the drugs she has around. So you think that just because she cheated, I'm going to cheat too, just because I'm around her? Now that you mention it, I think it is highly likely. You're dressed in an enticing little black dress, preparing for a date with another man. It is obvious you are dressed for him, and I can only think of one reason why you would dress provocatively for him. That's a rotten thing to say to me. No, it isn't. What did you wear to the last 2 parties at Sylvia's? I'll tell you in case you've forgotten. You wore slacks and a blouse to one and jeans and a sweater to the other. There isn't any doubt in my mind as to why you're dressed like you are for this party. Sylvia has finally talked you into trying someone else. I know from snippets of conversation I've overheard that she has been after you to join her screw parties for years. I guess she has finally gotten what she's been after. You're wrong, it isn't like that. Easy enough to prove me wrong. Don't go. Stay here with me. I can't. Tom is counting on me, and he is more important to you than I am. All I can say, Alice, is that if you go, you are kissing your marriage goodbye. Don't be ridiculous, this won't hurt us at all. Don't wait up, she said as she headed for the door. Goodbye, Alice, I said as she walked out. I think she heard the finality in the way I said goodbye. She hesitated for a second or two, and then she was gone. Did I overreact? I didn't think so. I was good friends with a lot of the guys in Sylvia's circle, and from them, I had learned all about what happened at Sylvia's parties. After the people who didn't care to participate had gone, they turned into screw parties. I learned that while Alice didn't take part, she did stick around and watch. I also heard about Sylvia telling Alice to forget about that fuddy-duddy you were married to and join in, you know you want to. Alice always answered that yes, she did want to, but wouldn't unless I joined in. My joining in was never going to happen. I'd spent countless hours trying to talk Alice into breaking away from Sylvia and to stop going to her parties, but I could never make it happen because of that BFF relationship. I spent a good part of the evening wondering what I should do. I was thinking about divorce, but I really didn't know that Alice would cheat on me. Could I live with her giving me the hell with you, Sam attitude? I had 7 years with her that I thought were great. The only bad part was her constantly spending time with Sylvia, whom I just could not stand. She was trash as far as I was concerned, and Alice knew it. One might ask why, if I knew so much about the goings-on at Sylvia's, I didn't just confront Alice. The answer to that was simple, at least to me. I had to know if Alice would cheat on me. If she was of a mind to cheat and I confronted her about Sylvia's parties and her stated desire to join in, would she just pull back from Sylvia's parties and do it somewhere else at a different time and place? I might never know if she did it at some other time and place, but if she did do it at Sylvia's, there were people I knew who would tell me. I still hadn't made up my mind on what I was going to do when I went to bed. The ringing of the bedside phone woke me up, and as I sat up, I saw the time on the alarm clock. I wondered who would be calling me at 1 a.m. Hello? Hello, idiot. Did I wake you up? What do you want? Sylvia. Just calling to let you know your wife has finally found herself a real man. What the hell are you talking about? Just what I said. Alice has found herself a real man, a man who can give her what she really needs. Here, just listen. Reluctantly, I listened as the sounds of intimacy filled the airwaves. Then I heard, "Oh God, yes. Take me, please. Please, hard." The voice was that of my wife. I hung up the phone. 30 seconds later, it rang again, and I knew who it would be, so I picked up the handset and dropped it on the floor. One of the good things about living in an apartment is that you don't accumulate a lot of stuff because you have no place to put it. I had all that I wanted packed and out in the truck in just over an hour. I was in a motel by 3 and at the bank when the doors opened at 9. I cleaned out all the accounts and then drove over to my job, told Jake I was quitting without notice and why. He said he understood, cut me my final check, helped me load my tools, told me I could use him as a reference, and wished me well. My phone had been ringing since 7, and all the calls were from Alice. I finally turned it off and made a mental note to get a new number. Then I changed my mind. I didn't know if Alice could get the new number out of her cell phone provider or not. I decided to pitch the phone in the trash can and buy a track phone at Walmart. I didn't need to do anything with credit cards since Alice and I didn't have any joint cards. She had 2 in her name, and I had 3 in mine. By 10, I was on the road to a destination I hadn't yet decided on. All I knew was that it had to be miles and miles away from Alice. I finally landed in Castle Rock, Colorado. I found a job in my field and settled in to start my new life. If there was a divorce, Alice would have to go for it. If she did, she would know where I was. After a year, she could use abandonment as a reason. The only drawback to that is that I would never know, but then it really didn't matter because I had no plans on ever getting married again. The next 2 years went by, and life was good. I dated some and had a friend with benefits, and then this happened. I know you heard me when I told you what would happen if you went on that date. You ignored me, left for that date, and I did what I said I was going to do. How did you find me? A very expensive private detective. Why did you bother? You are my husband. The "where art thou, ghost" thing and all that. How did you come up with the money to pay a very expensive private detective on a secretary's wages? I sold the house. What house? The one I was awarded in the suit. I started to ask what suit and what house, but caught myself, it just didn't matter. Well, you wasted your money and the time it took you to get here because we are done. You did just what I knew you were going to do when you walked out on me to go to that party. And don't bother wasting your time trying to tell me nothing happened. Your witch best friend called me at 1 o'clock in the morning and held the phone so I could listen to what was going on. Your "oh God, yes, take me, please, please" came through loud and clear and said it all. She was successful. Maybe I ought to have pursued retribution with greater vigor. I guess I need to tell you what happened since you weren't there to see or hear about it. I did not go to that party to get screwed, it was the farthest thing from my mind. I guess maybe I did overdress for the party, but Sylvia asked me to. For some reason, she didn't like Todd, or so she said, but she couldn't tell him not to come to the party because it was an open invitation to everyone in the office. She asked me to dress revealingly and let him think he was going to get lucky. I like dressing up, so I did. Todd took one look at me and thought he was going to hit the jackpot that night. He stuck to me like he was glued to me, almost as if he were afraid that if he wasn't near me, someone else might get me. It was a fun party, and even though Todd hovered, I guess the other guys thought I looked hot that night. I danced with several guys. Just as the party was breaking up, I started feeling dizzy and laid down. Sylvia told me she thought I'd had too much to drink and had me lie down in one of her spare bedrooms. I don't know how or when it started, but I slowly became aware that I was being made love to. I thought I was home in bed with you until I heard someone say, "Hurry it up, will you? I'm next." I looked around and saw Sylvia, along with Todd and Ben Grady. I saw several other guys standing around without clothes. One of them was apparently the guy who was supposed to be next. You know me, Sam. You know how I get when we make love, I lose it. I become a mere vessel of pleasure. I don't know how many were with me before I passed out. I woke up the next morning next to Bob Flanagan. He was leaning on his elbow, looking at me. I saw the look on his face and asked, "I just never thought you would cheat on Sam." "Glad that you did, though. Hope to see more of you." I promptly slapped him across the cheek, got dressed, and headed to the hospital. I told them that I thought I had been given a date rape drug. They did the testing and found traces of Rohypnol and ecstasy in my blood, and then they called the cops. While waiting for the police, I tried calling you but got no answer. I found out why I couldn't reach you when I got home and found you gone when the police talked to me. I told them what I knew and what little I remembered. The first one they talked to was Flanagan. He said he had no idea I was drugged and thought nothing of taking me because that was always what happened at Sylvia's parties. I knew it and had even stood around and watched. He figured I had finally decided to give it a try. He gave them the names of all the men he knew who had done me that night. The police thought that Todd had to be part of what happened to me, and when they leaned on him, he rolled over and told them it was all Sylvia's doing. She just knew I really wanted to join in, so she decided to give me a push. She figured that once the drug wore off, I'd still be into it and would love it, wanting to do it again. She was right about that, I did love it. But where she messed up was not paying any attention to the fact that I told her over and over again that I would not join in without you. You had to be on board with it, or I wouldn't do it. Once I was done with the hospital and the police, a policeman drove me home. I found out why I never got an answer when I tried calling you. I broke down and cried for 2 days, and then I got an attorney and sued everyone who had been at that party and who had done me. Most of the suits were thrown out because they all said the same thing Flanagan had said. But the suits against Sylvia and Todd were valid because the two of them had conspired against me. I won my suits, but Sylvia had nothing but her house. I was asked if I would settle for it. She still owed $30, but with what I got from Todd, I was able to pay it off. Then I sold it. Once I had the money from the sale of the house, I hired a private detective, and here I am. You wasted your money on the plane ticket and the time it took you to get here, for what? To get us back together? I love you and belong with you. You would have been smart to spend your money on an attorney to get a divorce. You could have used abandonment as grounds. I don't want a divorce, Sam. What you want or don't want doesn't matter to me anymore, Ellis. I didn't do it willingly, Sam. I was drugged. But you did willingly walk out the door, even though I told you that if you walked out that door, you were kissing your marriage goodbye. You ignored what I said and walked out that door again. The way. I should have told you that you would be wasting your time and money to get here. I have to be here if I'm going to put us back together. You aren't paying any more attention to what I'm saying now than you did on the evening you walked out on me. Pay attention, Alice, I don't want you. You can't put us back together because I, emphasis on the do not, want to get back together with a woman who could do what you did. Damn it, Sam. Can't you understand that I did not do it of my free will? I was drugged. You are the one not understanding things. Alice, it isn't what happened at Sylvia's, although I did expect it to happen and warned you it was likely to happen. it is what you did before you walked out the door to go to Sylvia's. It was the total disrespect for me you showed before leaving for your date. Don't be ridiculous, Sam. This won't hurt us at all. As you walked out that door to go on a date with another man, you killed any chance of us that could have been. Now please leave, I need to get ready for dinner. I'm hungry. I'll eat with you, and we can talk. I'm going to convince you that you are wrong when you say we can't put things back together. Her words hadn't even faded before the front door opened, and an extremely good-looking blonde walked in, calling out, "I'm home, B. What's for dinner?" Then she saw Alice and asked, "Who is this?" "This is Alice, you've heard me speak of her a time or two." "Alice, this is Beverly." Beverly surprised Alice when she walked over to her, bent down, gave her a hug, and said, "Thank you for sending Sam to me." Then she turned to me and asked what was for dinner. "I thought we would go out. I made reservations at Angelo's. I'll go change." "Nice meeting you, Alice, maybe we can get together sometime and compare notes." Then she headed for the bedroom. "You need to be leaving now, Alice. I have to change for dinner." "Does she know you are still married?" "She does." "You need to let her know. I'm going to fight for you, Sam." "Get real, Alice. For you to fight for me, you would need to spend time with me, and that just isn't going to happen. Get a divorce and find yourself another man. And when you do find him, don't pull the same stunt on him that you pulled on me." Tears were sliding down her cheeks when she said, "Damn it, Sam. Why can't you understand that I did not cheat on you? I was drugged." "So what? You had to be there in order to be drugged, and that is the point. I told you not to go. I told you when you opened the door to leave that if you left, you were kissing your marriage goodbye. You ignored me. You left. Marriage over. Simple as that. Now please leave, I have a dinner date to get ready for. I'm not going to divorce you, Sam, and you need to let your girlfriend know that she is never going to be able to marry you. She can't marry me, she's already married and in the same boat I'm in. Her husband won't give her a divorce, and she won't waste the money trying to get one. I'll go, but I'm not going far. I can't get you back long distance, so I'm moving here. I'm going to get you back." "No, you aren't, Alice. I've already said this several times, and you need to get it through your head that I mean it. I do not want to. Now go." She was crying, but she left. Bev came into the room, and she looked radiant. "Why aren't you ready? Did you decide not to go?" "No, it just took longer to get rid of her than I thought. She should be gone for good. I let her know in no uncertain terms that I wanted nothing to do with her." "That's great to hear, because I have no plans of letting you slip away." I smiled back and replied, "Just give me 10 minutes to get ready. What do you think about Op? Thanks for being part of our tales where revenge is served piping hot."